Okay, so the question here, what is the procedure to become a mortgage agent? You need to set up an account with RECA. So it would be myreca.ca. Once you go to that website, you can set up an account for yourself. Setting up the account is free. So once you set up an account, the next step is to start your application with RECA. So for that, there will be a $350 fee. Once you pay them the application fee, next step would be that they would ask you to upload certain documents. So these documents would be, first of all, your ID documents. You need to provide a government issued ID. It has to be a valid ID, so your driver's license or your citizenship card, PR card, any of those things. Another requirement, you have to be over 18 years of age. For the education requirements, you need high school diploma or equivalency. So if you've done your high school here, then it becomes really simple. You can just use that. If you have done your, let's say you did your high school somewhere else, but you did a 2-year diploma in Canada, then that will also meet both your English as well as your education eligibility requirements. So either high school diploma or a 2-year diploma. So it cannot be two diplomas for 1 year. It has to be one diploma 2 years from an accredited, recognized college. So in that case, if you have done that, it meets both your education as well as eligibility requirements. Now, let's say if you have done your education elsewhere from a different country. So in that case, you would then need to get your degree assessed. Now, here's the thing. Let's say you've done bachelor's in a different country, let's say in India. If the medium of instruction was English, then it's easier if you go get your assessment done from ICES. So that's International Accreditation Evaluation, Credentials Evaluation Service. This is in BCIT. The reason I recommend going there at this point is because they will say that the language of instruction was English. And because of that, it will meet both your English and your education requirements. So you don't need to write an exam for the English proficiency. But if it was not in English, then you can send it to any of the evaluation services. It could be WES, it could be IQAS, which is in Alberta, WES is in Ontario, it could be ICES, then it doesn't matter who you send it to, the result will be the same. It's just that WES doesn't put English on your transcript, and IQAS used to do that, but they don't any longer. And so that's why we are sending everybody to ICES. It's an online application. Once they do the assessment, then make sure you have it sent to RECA. Now, Gurinder, you're saying that you have your master's in pharmacy. So I would say it is better to get it re-evaluated from ICES just because there are few of them that RECA will accept from. But I just find with ICES, because they will say language of instruction is English, RECA does not take any evaluation from other organizations, right? Sometimes we'll get students who will say, okay, I'm an engineer. I have my degree assessed from APEGA, which is their association. RECA, unfortunately, will not accept it. There's few assessment services that they will accept it from, like WES, IQS, ICES. So these are some of them. ICES just is easier, especially if the language of instruction was English, which for many of these, like for pharmacy, I would assume it was English was the language of instruction, then it would just cut out on the process. And it's not that expensive to get it assessed from ICES. I think it's hundreds some dollars. You can have them send the assessment copy to you, but also have them send it to RECA directly, because RECA will not accept it from you. It has to come directly from the assessment service. So same thing, if you have done your education here in Canada, then you have to request your university or college to send it directly to RECA. RECA will not accept it from you. But if somebody does not, like the degree or your education was not in English, the medium of instruction was something else, in that case, you will have to do one of the exams. So it could be IELTS, it could be TOEFL, it could be CALE or CELPIP. If you're doing IELTS, it has to be academic, which the exam tends to be a little bit harder. So generally, I recommend to do either CELPIP or CALE. Those I find are a little bit easier than the IELTS. I used to teach IELTS academic, so I find students just have a little bit easier time with a KL test than they have with IELTS academic, but it's up to you. You can choose whichever test you want to do for English proficiency. Okay, so once they receive everything, they'll process the application. Then you'll receive an email, and they will say, "This is your RECA contact ID." That's the contact ID we would need when you enroll with our courses or any other course provider. When you enroll for the courses, we need that RECA contact ID. So they'll send you an email, and then they'll say, "Okay, here's a list of course providers. You can go choose whoever you want to enroll with. Hopefully, you will enroll with us." But they'll send you that list and they'll say your application has been processed and you're eligible. Okay, so that's the process. I hope it answers your question.